name is Lon Safko, co-author of the Social Media Bible, published by John Wiley & Sons, the most comprehensive book ever written on the subject of social media. And today we're here with Gretchen Howard, Director of Online Sales and Operations for Google AdWords. Wow, what can I say? We got Google here today. This is terrific. Gretchen, thank you so much for being here today.
Hi, Lon. I'm happy to be here.
This is totally cool. And today we're going to be speaking about social media, of course, and also about online advertising and the three little letters that can mean so much to your business, SEM, or search engine marketing, because that's what really online advertising is all about. So let's get started. Gretchen, can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, your background?
Sure. So I'm a director at Google and work on online sales and operations. And I've been here at Google for about 2.5 years and had a varied past before I landed at Google. So I worked in financial services and also in consulting before this.
Okay, cool. Let's see. Can we start out by just talking a little bit about what online sales, what AdWords are, what Google provides?
Sure. So let's start with an acronym that you mentioned from the start, search engine marketing, or SEM. Search engine marketing is really synonymous with online advertising. So it refers to programs that enable advertisers to run relevant ads alongside search results. So when users perform queries on a search engine such as Google, online advertisements also come up.
Okay, and of course that makes a heck of a lot of sense because we see that all the time. We'll see the organic listings over on the left and we'll see the sponsored links on the right, or a couple of them listed now on the left as well on top. One of the questions that I always get asked when teaching SEM is, really what is its effectiveness? What's the rate of return? What's the risk?
Right. So so these online or featured advertisements that you're talking about this is what we call AdWords. So, and AdWords is just Google's online advertising program. And we really like to describe AdWords. It may sound a little corny, but I like to explain it as a matchmaking service that connects businesses and customers. So it's really the tools that connect businesses who have products and services to sell and customers who are looking for those specific products and services and online. And it's really done by matching relevant products and services to customer search query. And the thing that excites me most about AdWords is that it's highly targeted and cost-effective. So it's a measurable system that helps advertisers, both large and small, find their customers online.
Okay, so basically online advertising and Google AdWords is I go in and I create a campaign around either a keyword or a keyword phrase, so anticipating that when my prospect or customer is looking for that type of a product or service that they're going to type that in, and then you guys match it up based on what the searcher is actually searching for.
Exactly. It's all about relevance. And so it's really easy to set up. I think one of the things, just to take you quickly through how it works is You can go to google.com/AdWords. You select a daily budget. You create an ad, and you target your ad by choosing keywords and a geographic location, and then you let it run. So it's a cost-per-click model, which means advertisers only pay when users click on their ads, and then they're delivered to the advertiser's website. So a click can be as low as 1 cent, and you can modify your daily budget at any time. So you're not trapped into a large fee at any time.
Okay, so it's not based on the old revenue model back in the 90s before the dot bomb of just number of impressions, and if you show up on the page, you get charged a lot of money. You actually don't have to pay anything if someone doesn't click on you.
Exactly. It's a pay-per-click model, and that's why our philosophy is all that advertising should be relevant, targetable, and cost-effective, and that's where the pay-per-click model comes in because it holds us accountable in matching advertisers with customers.
So what you're saying is for the first time in history in media sales that we're actually held accountable for performance.
Well, I couldn't have said it better myself. The other thing that it does is that it really levels the playing field. And so it offers this powerful, measurable solutions to the needs of both small niche businesses as well as large brand advertisers. So in some ways it really democratizes the web, which, I think is just groundbreaking.
I like the word democratize. In a lot of the interviews that I've done in the past here, that word continuously comes up. And being a multiple small business owner, ever since AdWords have come along, I've used AdWords, and personally I've noticed anywhere from a 350 to a 600% rate of return on my investment.
We love that. We'll have to write a success story about you personally, I think.
It really is great, because if nobody uses it, you don't pay for it. If you have competition, if you're willing to pay just a couple of cents more, then you get the top listing. And when people do click on it, you know that they're in that part of the buying funnel, the buying cycle, because they're going to click on it because they're ready to purchase.
Absolutely, and it doesn't matter how specific. I mean, the more specific someone's looking for something, the easier that they're going to find exactly what they're looking for. And so the user experience or the customer experience is so important to this business, and it helps out both Google and the online advertiser as well. So it's really a win-win situation.
It really is a synergistic relationship, which you don't get from a lot of service providers. A couple of years ago, there was a lot of concern about click-through fraud, and I know you guys have gone through extensive lengths to guarantee that that doesn't happen. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about what that is and how you protect them?
Sure. So we have an ad traffic quality team, and they're constantly adding to we have a 3-stage system for detecting invalid clicks. The 3 stages are 1, proactive real-time filters, 2, proactive offline analysis, and 3, reactive investigation. And this combined approach is really the essence of click fraud management. The goal is to cast the net of invalid clicks sufficiently wide in order to have a high degree of confidence that actual malicious behavior is effectively filtered out. So by proactively filtering these clicks, potentially worth hundreds of millions of dollars every year, we're able to provide a very effective protection against attempted click fraud, and we take it very seriously.
That really is proactive and aggressive.
Absolutely. I mean, Google has devoted significant resources and expertise to developing proactive and technically sophisticated measures to filter invalid clicks before advertisers are ever charged for them. We recognize that advertiser satisfaction from a customer service point of view is extremely important, as well as the advertiser's ROI. So we investigate every click fraud claim that comes into us, and we really try to respond to those advertisers' requests as appropriate and as timely as possible.
That's really terrific, and again, that brings integrity to the industry. And for those listeners who don't understand exactly what we're talking about, when click-through advertising first became popular, it became popular for your competition to sit and continuously click on your links until they burned out your budget. And Google was very rapid to respond in making sure that IP address gets blocked and that other protections are put in place so someone just isn't clicking and burning your budget. When you get charged for a click, it pretty much is a legitimate click.
Absolutely, and if we don't catch it proactively, which we catch most of them proactively, we will absolutely credit advertisers retroactively, because the last thing we want is for advertisers to be negatively affected by click fraud in any way.
Geez, I love that. Again, there's not a lot of industries out there, especially in media. You'd never hear that kind of stuff from a newspaper or a television advertiser. Excuse me for that, but I am a little online prejudiced.
I am as well, but I think this integrity is so key to the essence of our business that it's extremely important for our customer experience and our advertiser experience to be top-notch. Totally
cool. And of course, the second question is how difficult and how expensive? What's the process? Because a lot of people really are intimidated by this whole thing. Setting up the account. Then on the other hand, there's a gentleman that was in one of my conferences that actually was running over 150 keyword campaigns simultaneously. So is it really kind of easy, and what's the cost involved?
Yeah, AdWords is actually very easy to get started. I like to break it down into 3 main steps. So the first one, as in, anytime you're creating an advertising campaign, and especially an online marketing campaign, I think the first step and advice that I always give people is know your audience and identify your goals. Really, precision is the key to search advertising, so you want to reach the right advertisers at the right time. take a good look at the products and services you're selling and the customers who are buying them. You'd be amazed at how many people don't know who their target audience is, and this is an essential first step. So then once you have a clear sense of your business, you need to focus on how to reach those customers. And you'll need to understand and define what your ultimate goal is so you can actually measure success. Then you can look to target to specific languages or geographic locations that your business serves. And it could, that could be your metro region or that could be global.
And that's a good point, too, is to also don't discount geographic regions if you service your customers in specific areas of the country.
Absolutely. That's one of the beauties of online advertising is you can change your geographic targeting at any time. So you can expand or contrast or actually make seasonal changes based on geographic trends as well.
Yeah, one of the things that I teach is seasonality, seasonal changes, where you bump up your advertising budget in a particular time of the year and you can kind of soften it in others. And if you really want to kind of get into the weeds, you can even get right down to even day parting, where, of course, where you can really bump up your advertising in a particular part of the day and then cut it back at other parts.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think, if you are someone in Northern California and you're selling snowboards, well, you can have a huge presence in the winter in Northern California, but in the summer it's a slow time. So why not market those snowboards to folks in New Zealand where it's winter in your summer? So it's a great way to, discount the seasonality of your business.
See, and that's another good point that you made, too, is that the geographic locations and how you can actually target. For example, if you took out a one-page, four-color ad in Good Housekeeping, it's $404,000 for that one ad. And it's going to go to everybody, people who don't care about your service, people who won't take the time to read the ad, people who won't even open the magazine. But this advertising that we're talking about, the online, really targets your customer so specifically for that product, that service, and at the exact time that they're ready to buy, and even right down to the geographic area and time of day if you wanted to.
Exactly. And that leads me to point number 2 on how to get started is the second tip that I tell people is you really have to create effective campaigns. So the first step in that is choosing powerful keywords. Really start brainstorming and expand your list as broadly as possible and then narrow your focus. Try to think like your customers do and use 2 to 4 word combinations instead of general words so you really target the audience that you're going after. The other piece to that is advertisers need to write what I call gotta-click ads. So ads that make users feel compelled to click on the ad and learn more. Get to the point quickly, convey key product benefits like free shipping or promotions, and then use strong calls to action such as buy now or sign up today, and really direct users to the landing page on your site that most relates to your ad. So not just the general landing page, but again, make it as specific as possible so people get to the information that they're looking at after and don't have to navigate further once they reach your website.
And that's a really great point, too. In my conferences, I start the afternoon session with your homepage is killing you. It's probably the worst thing that you have in marketing.
Exactly.
And of course, nobody understands that because everybody believes that really it's about driving people to your homepage. But the homepage is really more or less the cover of the brochure, the cover of the book. So this type of advertising, if they want a specific product and they're ready to buy, the idea, the conversion, is to take them specifically to that page so that the only next step is click the buy button.
Exactly. Take the complexity out of the interaction and you will have many more sales than you ever dreamed possible. And I think that, that's a great point. The third step that I always say is track, test, adapt, and thrive. You really need to adopt an attitude where you are continually looking at the data that the online advertising provides you and you continue to experiment and innovate. The online advertising environment is really dynamic, and you can look at your marketing results and keep a close eye on statistics. And again, this is different than any other form of advertising. So you can leverage conversion tracking software. Lots of people provide free software. In Google, it's the Google Analytics product.
Yeah.
But there's lots of tools like Google Analytics that provide data that will allow you to see insight into your website and how to improve it and make changes so you can achieve your goals.
That's terrific. With the metrics, the terminology I often use is lather, rinse, repeat.
Love it.
And one of the things that I did notice over the last 10 years, basically, that I've been doing this, is that more and more people kind of came online and figured out Google AdWords, the competitive costs for certain words began going up and up and up, and it became more expensive. And I think I heard a moment ago what you were saying is don't necessarily go for the one word or that describes you, or the most generic general word, because often that can be the most expensive, but maybe you find that sweet spot of maybe 2 or 3 or even 4 word combinations that might be more effective and less costly?
That's exactly right. I think using 2 to 4 word combinations instead of general words it helps you become more targeted and reach that very specific audience, and it is usually much cheaper than a general keyword.
Yeah, I like that advice. Thank you. What other types of online advertising do you guys do over there? What does Google do?
What kind of online advertising do we do?
Yeah, other than just AdWords.
Oh, well, we have, there's lots of other kinds of advertising we do. We have, you can do print campaigns, you can do TV campaigns,
really?
You can do audio campaigns. So I think that'll take a whole other session, but there's, we're always looking at ways we can be innovative and, again, bring that targeted, measurable approach to general advertising.
Does your department also manage AdSense?
Online sales and operations absolutely does have AdSense as well, yes.
Could you just speak to that maybe just in a couple of short sentences so people understand the value of that?
Sure. AdSense is, so this isn't my area of expertise to caveat it, but AdSense is the team that manages our relationships with publishers. So they manage something called the Content Network, which the best example is if you think about the New York Times. They have an online presence, and they run AdSense advertisements on that page from various publishers that are relevant to the content in their stories. So if you're online on NewYorkTimes.com and you're reading a story about dogs, there might be advertisements shown from different pet food providers. And that's what we call those publishers, such as the New York Times, are AdSense publishers. Okay,
so now we're talking about the big guys like the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, but if I had my own little blog with my own little readership, could I take advantage of AdSense as well?
Anyone can put AdWords or AdSense ads on their blog, and basically anytime someone clicks through an ad from your published site, such as a blog, part of that revenue that's derived from clicking through that ad is shared with the publisher.
Isn't that absolutely amazing? You get a referral fee every time somebody clicks on an ad.
Exactly.
Jeez.
So it's great for blogs and any type of publishers to actually have that relationship with Google, and also provide valuable advertisements to their users based on the subject that they're writing about.
That's great, and you really can kind of profit from this. There's a couple of actually industry giants in social media that give away their services for free and completely cover their overhead and profit just by using AdSense.
Yes, it's a great system.
If somebody wanted to actually, again, kind of get started with AdWords, getting back to AdWords, again, is that process difficult? What do they actually do? How do you? So we pick a couple of words, and then we set up an account, and where do we go from there?
So yeah, you can start at google.com/AdWords. You select a daily budget, so that's how much you want to spend per day. You actually create an ad, so you write a text ad, and then you choose your keywords and geographic locations, and that's it. You let it run. So it's really quite easy to set up. You don't have to be tech savvy to do it, and there's a wizard that will take you through step by step. But there are some common mistakes that people do when setting up an account that I'd be happy to walk through if that's of interest.
Well, yeah. Would you mind, please?
Sure. One thing I see new advertisers doing sometimes is creating just one campaign with a single ad and dumping a huge amount of keywords into that ad. We recommend that you don't do that. We recommend that you really organize campaigns by topics or themes or product lines or geography. And don't be afraid to categorize like keywords together so you can write ads targeted to each group. This will really improve both your ad targeting and your relevance. Another thing is to use the same structure for campaigns that you do on your website. So if your website's already grouped into categories, your job's almost done. For example, to group by topic, you could make separate campaigns for, if you're an online retailer focused on, coffee, you could have separate campaigns for tea, coffee, and accessories like different mugs and cups. Or you could group by product line and place the ad text and keywords about whole bean coffee in one campaign and ad text and keywords about ground coffee in another campaign. So this will give you insight into which campaigns are performing better than others.
Now that's really good advice, because what I'm hearing is rather than just sponsoring coffee and just blowing out a huge budget on that, you're really not targeting your customers, and the customers aren't specifically looking for coffee. They may be looking for whole bean coffee. So you're kind of catching them too early in the buying cycle with too general information, and you're paying a premium for that, where you can be more targeted and give the customer exactly what they're looking for, more relevance.
Exactly. So another example is if you sell spa products online, you really want to create different groups for lotions or candles or perfumes or hair products, but not just advertise on spa products, because you're not as targeted as you could be. And this will give you a lot more insight into which products and online advertisements are working well in your campaigns, and which ones, through the analytic data, you need to tweak and evolve.
And spa, you're going to probably pay the most for that word and get the least rate of return.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great advice. Wow. Can you cite any particular example of a customer using AdWords and a success story, something that you're familiar with?
Sure. One of my favorites is a local success story here in San Francisco. It's called Linland's Quarter Rounds. So it's pretty genius. They came up with the novel idea to make horizontal versus vertical corduroy pants. The stripes go horizontal instead of vertical.
Okay.
No one had ever thought of this before. And it's now branched out into horizontal corduroy shorts and skirts and jackets as well. All of it is sold exclusively online.
Wow.
So the entrepreneur, Chris Linland, he first set up his shop in a basement, and he was looking to grow his customer base. And he didn't want to just be a passing fashion fad. So he approached Google AdWords, and he set up a campaign, and he wanted to really target his demographic. And as soon as he set up Google AdWords, the company saw a 200% return on their holiday spend.
Wow.
So he did it around the December holiday spend time. And he felt like it really increased brand awareness for customers who were really first-time finders around corduroys through AdWords. He also used Google Analytics to help examine the customer's behaviors. So he looked at how visitors arrived at quarterrounds.com, how they interacted with it, and which messages really resonated best. And he then used this information and really adjusted his ad and the site and strategy to really, use branding and targeting techniques to make it work.
Wow, geez. And I hear this kind of over and over again, too, is that you don't have to be a huge company like General Motors to use this, that it's so cost effective that the entrepreneur, the one-person shop just starting out, that this is an incredible way to actually compete with companies like Macy's.
Absolutely, because we know a lot of entrepreneurs and startups don't have a huge marketing budget, and that's why the flexibility of Google AdWords is so powerful, because you have control over your daily budget. You can start and stop at any time, and as you start to measure the return on that investment, you can increase it as you become comfortable over time. So as you see it driving sales for your business, you can continue to increase that budget if you believe it is driving sales. Another great success story is a company called Twitty & Company.
Yeah.
They're a family-owned realty company, and they specialize in vacation rentals in Duck and Corolla, North Carolina.
Okay.
Duck is one of my favorite town names.
Duck.
And they used to only use traditional marketing collateral. So they would use brochures and print ads, but then actually the founder's son discovered Google AdWords, and they changed their ads and listings. They signed up for AdWords, and they really changed their ads constantly over the season to change depending on their available inventory. So they could actually promote specific rental properties as they became available, and once they got booked, take them down. So it was a really flexible system, and they really change it daily, and it's actually increased the percentage of bookings made online to over 50%.
Jeez. And I was just talking to a friend of mine, a colleague this morning who owns a cabin in Pine Top, Arizona, and he was saying the same thing, that by using Google AdWords in the summertime, he can advertise, get away from the heat, rent the cabin. In the fall, he can advertise, come to Pine Top and watch the changing of the leaves, the colors. And in the winter, he can say, best snow skiing anywhere in the state of Arizona.
And sell all year round, exactly. And so that's a great example of changing your ad and being really flexible, based on the seasons. And something that most entrepreneurs just can't really do through traditional media ads, because doing a print ad or a TV ad is not as cost effective. You just can't change it on a whim.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that type of media has gotten to the point for an entrepreneur, it's cost prohibitive. We can't afford it.
It really is, and it's hard to measure results as well.
Yeah, that's kind of what drove the industry for the last 50 years, is no one was ever held accountable for it. And on that note, I hear you mention a lot of times Google Analytics, and I'm an extreme fan of Google Analytics. Can you just mention something real quick about that?
Sure. It's really a free product, and it's a free tracking product. And this goes hand in hand with AdWords. You can actually, it's a free product you can adopt even if you don't have an AdWords account. You can use it with other online advertising tools as well. And it's really just a way for you to measure your results and keep a close eye on the statistics of your account. So we want to give you insight and transparency in terms of what's happening in your Google AdWords account. And the more information you have about it, the more power you have to tweak and change and make the return on your investment more powerful to work for you. So it's really just insight. There's a lot of reports that come pre-populated, or you can create your own as well. Wow. And it's really to take some of, we don't want to just dump a lot of different metrics at you. We want to make sure that you have control and insight into how to proactively manage your account and take, some of the confusion out of it.
Man, talk about a full-service, no-risk, cost-effective way to advertise your company. This is amazing. Is there anything else that you can share with our listeners before we conclude here today about online advertising and what Google's doing? You have anything coming down the pike or any tips?
Well, we're always looking for ways to improve both Google AdWords and all the products and services we provide. So the entrepreneur is extremely important to us, but we serve mid-sized and large companies as well. And I think the thing I would leave your listeners with is that we need feedback from our customers, and it's extremely valuable to us because we are always learning and innovating and trying to improve the product for our users. So the more feedback, the better, and keep it coming.
Boy, I love concluding with that because the book is about social media, and as you know, social media is basically a set of tools that allow for two-way communication. And for you and Google to come right out and say, we care and we want to listen to what our customers have to say so that we can incorporate your ideas to deliver a better product. Wow. That's cool.
I'm glad I wowed you, Lon.
You did. You really did. Google never ceases to amaze me. So, Gretchen, thank you. I mean, truly, thank you for being here today.
Great. Thank you so much, and good luck with the book. I can't wait to read it.
Where can people find out more about Google AdWords and what you guys are doing?
They can go to google.com/AdWords, and there is plenty of information there, and we have a pretty robust online help site as well.
Totally cool. So this has been Lon Safko, co-author of the Social Media Bible. Be sure to check out our other valuable social media tactics, tools, and strategies that can be found in the Social Media Bible book, as well as the companion website, www.thesocialmediabible.com. And for more information about me, Lon Safko, please by all means visit my website at www www.lonsafko.com. And Gretchen, again, truly, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks. It was great to talk to you.